Season, we work on this during the fire season, and we work on this in the off season to make sure that we are a finely tuned machine to fight wildland fires here in Kern County. When the final damage was tallied, the most significant part of this is 2 people lost their lives. They were overran by the fire. 2 people lost their lives. Over 280 homes totally destroyed. Totally destroyed. That's everything inside the home. Everything totally destroyed. Hundreds others damaged. The people who lived in the path of the fire were in evacuation centers for weeks. It truly impacted our citizens in the Kern River Valley. But it also impacted the fire service. One Kern County firefighter, he lost his house in this fire as he was fighting the Erskine Fire. He watched his house burn down. The Bureau of Land Management, their firefighters are on scene fighting the fire. One of their firefighters' homes burned to the ground. The U.S. Forest Service, same story. Firefighters on scene fighting a wildland fire, trying to save citizens' lives and their property, and their houses burning down. Our firefighters didn't know if their families got out as they were battling these destructive wildland fires. It was truly a devastating fire for the community and our firefighters. Shortly after the fire began, Kern County Fire Department Fire Investigation Unit responded to the fire. This is standard protocol. Our Fire Investigation Unit responds to these type of wildland fires in an effort to determine cause. The scope and magnitude of this fire, the fire investigators put together a team of experts, other fire investigators from the U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, Calif all participated in the investigation efforts. And they've worked over the last 6 months to determine the cause of the fire and put together an investigative report that is quite exhaustive, if you will. And it's taken 6 months. It's taken 6 months of hard work by the fire investigators to interview hundreds of witnesses, to go through the process of eliminating the normal causes of wildland fire, such as lightning. They actually look back at the previous 24 or the 30 days prior to the Erskine Fire to see if there were any lightning strikes in the area, and there were none. So they were eliminating causes that we typically see on a wildland fire. Vehicles, maybe a hot catalytic converter into the grass. There was no access by cars. The area was secured, and they worked through the process to eliminate all causes of the fire. The Kern County Fire Department Fire Investigation Unit, assisted by CAL FIRE, the U.S. Forest Service, and BLM, has determined that the cause of the fire was an electrical line that was in a tree that, over time, the insulation was wore down as the line rubbed on the tree, and a catastrophic electrical arc occurred that afternoon, and hot molten material dropped into the grass, the vegetation, and the fire was started by that electrical line. That is a private electrical line that was on private property. It's not Southern Cal Edison or PG&E. This is a private line. And the evidence that our fire investigators saw, that they examined with technical experts, it was very clear that this electrical line suffered a catastrophic failure, and the molten material from the explosion, which was verified by witnesses, the hot molten material landed in that vegetation, and the Erskine Fire began. And again, the conditions were right for a significant wildland fire that afternoon. Hot, dry conditions, windy weather, a lot of fuels, 5 years of drought, and the Erskine Fire over a period of 2 weeks did devastation never before seen in Kern County. So the investigation has been completed, and the land ownership where the fire began is actually on Bureau of Land Management's land. The land was actually leased from the BLM to the California State Fish and Wildlife Services. So the Kern County Fire Department is now transferring command of the investigation to the Bureau of Land Management, and they will be going through the reports, and they will be the lead on the investigation from this point forward. I would be remiss if I don't talk about our citizens in the Kern River Valley and some of the recovery efforts that are going on. There is still people that are homeless in the Kern River Valley because their home was totally destroyed by the Erskine Fire. Working with the State Office of Emergency Services and FEMA, we will be putting 27 manufactured housing units in the area that was destroyed by the Erskine Fire, and these are 27 families that will be receiving a house, a new house, and this process will begin after the first of the year, and that's a good thing, that people will be able to get back into their home, because remember, their home was destroyed. Everything that they had was destroyed. They literally escaped with the clothes on their back. Recovery efforts will be long, though. It's a long process as these people try to get back to something of normalcy. Just remember these people in the coming years, because it's going to take a long time, and I know the fire agencies, again, we suffered loss too, and our firefighters on the ground, were there fighting fire in their own backyard. So there's a lot of things with the Erskine Fire that we need to remember, and we need to prevent it from happening again. This is one for the record books, and it's not anything that we want to ever occur. Thank you.
Chief, any questions?
I turn it over to the PIO.
Yeah, the sheet's available for several questions.
So I have a couple of questions. We knew it was a private line. What was it being used for? And is that owner ultimately responsible for this fire?
So the line is a private power line from a building to another building. This is not a major power line such as from Southern Cal Edison or PG&E. This is a private power line that's past the meter. Ultimately, the Bureau of Land Management is going to be going through the report. They just have received the report last Friday. So they will be going through and reviewing the report, and ultimately a decision will be made by the Bureau of Land Management on that.
To recover costs, just to be clear, are you guys going after the landowner here? Any possible charges to be filed here? Or trying to recover any monetary damages here?
Yeah, good afternoon. Gabe Garcia, Bureau of Land Management. So yes, at this point, we got it last Friday. We're reviewing the report. Obviously, it's several hundred pages long. So our team is doing that as we speak. So there's a number of different possibilities we can go forward from here. And it'll probably be several weeks to a month before we make a determination of what direction we go as far as going after damages caused by the fire.
And what's the name of the owner?
At this point, we don't, we have that information right now. We're going through that process, and that information will be released at a later date.
Was the resident code? Are you also pursuing criminal charges, or are you looking into deciding whether or not you're going to file criminal charges?
That'll be something that we'll decide.
Do you know if it was residential?
You know, that's something we're still looking into, exactly what the property would be used for.
Was the line up to code the way it was run, and also was it the wind event itself that actually caused that line to fail with the tree rubbing on it?
Yeah, so you know, that's one of the things, obviously, during our review, we're going to take a look at the code, you know, it's up to code and all that stuff will be looked at during our review of the report. Like I said, it's going to take us some time to kind of go through that and then make a determination on our next steps in your land management.
Does that homeowner or business owner also lose their property in the fire?
I don't know.
So how common is this? I mean, if it happened with this one particular incident, and you know there's lines all over the place up there, what's being done to ensure that these lines are safe?
Right now, we have just finished our investigation and have determined it to be a power line. So now we need to go and look at how we do our defensible space inspections, which we typically do in the spring. Make sure that we are looking into all aspects of it to prevent this from occurring again. And again, you know, the entire defensible space program, we're making sure that there's no firewood up against the house, there's no pine needles on a roof. It's kind of the total package to make sure that we prevent fires from occurring and homes from being destroyed in the wildfire.
Now this is
Okay, we'll take about 2 more questions.
this isn't an unusual. I mean, the incident during exploded, but this isn't an unusual fire. I mean, I see trimming trees all the time. Is this unusual?
It's not an unusual cause of wildland fires. Again, lightning, vehicles that get into the vegetation and their hot catalytic converter will set a fire. We typically see fires on the grapevine where vehicles are going uphill, they're operating you know, at a load, and hot carbon goes into the grass. We see fires caused by railroads. So there's a lot of different causes of fires, and our fire investigation unit, in conjunction with the other agencies, ruled out all of these other causes of fires. I mean, they even looked at, was there lightning in the area? There was no lightning within the past. So a lot of different causes of wildland fires. This was caused by a power line that had been in a tree, and the line had been rubbing against the tree.
Chief, have you got a cost of the fire? How much financially, how much does this cost you guys overall, taking into account everybody that came down here? Ballpark figure as to
The
what-
total suppression cost for the Erskine Fire is approximately $43 million. That is for the suppression cost. Again, the fire occurred on local lands, state lands, federal lands. We did receive a FMAG, which is Fire Assistance Management Grant from FEMA. That pays 75% of the local government's response to the wildland fires. So the cost will be shared, state, federal, and local, with FEMA playing a big part into reimbursing local governments for their cost of fighting the fire.
We'll take 1 more question from someone else and then we'll wrap this up.
What was the total property damage? You know? The total amount of money in property damage?
We're still going through the damage assessment report. Again, over 280 homes were totally destroyed by the fire. We have additional homes that were damaged. We have hundreds of vehicles that burned up. The rehab costs, you can just imagine, the power lines, the power poles that were all burned down. All of those costs are continuing to be total, tallied. So we don't have a full damage assessment report completed at this time. We continue to work on that, and then we'll determine the total amount of damage from the Erskine Fire.
Okay, that'll be all. That'll conclude the press conference. Thanks guys for coming out.